Here we are, it's Labor Day, and this is our block party. Got the bouncy houses out for the kids, a bunch of tables, a little bit of badminton, of course some cornhole, and just lots of stuff going on here. Hey, it looks okay, huh?
That looks really good. Somebody's a good cook. I think his name's Jeff.
When you got 80 to 100 hungry neighbors, you got to do an overnight cook with 4 pork shoulders. All right, so today we are going to make some pulled pork. First step is we've got to put together a rub. I use a special rub that I've put together over a period of time. Used this for probably the past 10 years or so. So here it is. This is my special little rub. If you take a look down here in the description, I'll actually put all that information in there and exactly what it is. So what we're going to do, I'm going to follow along here, is we're going to start out with 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar. So that goes in. Then we've got a 1/2 cup of paprika. That goes into the mix. Now we've got a 1/4 cup of kosher salt. After that, it's the chili powder, and this is a 1/4 cup of chili powder. And we've got dry mustard, 1/4 cup of that also. And now it's a tablespoon of black ground pepper, 2 tablespoons of Old Bay crab boil, and the last thing is a 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger. So we're going to mix this all up, and we're going to put it into a shaker so that way we can apply it onto our pulled pork. Make sure that you've got this all blended really well. You don't want any chunks or little clots of it. Sometimes maybe your dark brown sugar is a little bit chunked up. You can see a little bit of the granules in there from the kosher salt. Obviously that's not gonna mix out, but that's okay. So there we go. And I've just got an old shaker that I've used from some rubs before. Gonna load it all up in here. This will more than take care of what we're gonna need today. Hopefully it'll all fit in this container. Look at that, life is good. I don't think we could have got much closer than that. Make sure you label these with what it is. I like to add another little piece of tape on there with the date of when I mix this up, so that way it's easy for you to remember later on when you look back. You know, how old is that? Was that something that I did 6 months ago? Was it something I did 6 years ago? There we go, pork shoulder or pork butt. And what we've got here is, looks like we've got about 12 pounds here. I think I just picked this up at the local Costco. We're gonna open this up and we're gonna give it a quick rinse. Actually I have 2 of these that we're gonna work on today. 2 packages, so a total of 4 pounds. So a total of 4 pork shoulders. So let's pull this out. I'm gonna take this over to the sink and we're gonna give it a quick rinse, a little pat down to dry it up on both of those, and then we'll put our rub on here and get them ready. So we're going to start these with the fat side down and apply our rub. I always put it inside of a plastic bag, that way I can hold it with my hand that I've been touching the meat with. So we're just going to shake this on pretty liberally. Get it all over there. Good coating. We want to get the sides over here. You know the drill. This is pretty basic stuff. Good coating all the way around. This is going to give us some nice color. Going to develop some nice bark on here. This is going to be an overnight cook. So we're going to start this fella at about 10 p.m. and they're going to run all night at around 200, 210 degrees. We'll take a look at them in the morning and see what the temperature is, and then kick them up as need be to finish them off. The block party starts at 4 p.m. tomorrow, so we'll just want to make sure that these are in the cooler and resting and at that 200 degree level, probably a couple hours prior to that. Let's see, I think this fat needs a little bit of trim here. Looks pretty thick on this side. Always try to trim while this meat is cold, because this fat trims so much better when it's cold. Generally, pork shoulder, pork butt doesn't need much as far as any kind of trim to it, because that fat, unless it's just a ton of it, is just gonna render out pretty easily. And what I also do is, with that fat cap in there, make some little cross cuts in there. That allows the rub to get down in the inside, penetrates a little bit better, and you'll also find that it renders a little bit easier also if you just really give it a good score onto the top and through that fat cap. These are probably, oh, I don't know, 1 inch cross hatches, and that should be adequate. Oh, it's just going to get in there real nice. It's going to give us lots of good flavor in there. Looks good on all the sides. And probably used about a quarter of what we made up, so this will go a long ways. Got some disposable pans. These work really nice. And we're just going to take these pork shoulders, move them over onto these disposables, and that's the first set that's ready to go there. Now we're going to go into the second batch. Halfway there, we got 2 more. All right, so here are the second 2. So these 2 are bone in. The first 2 were boneless. I kind of like to have the bone in. That gives a little bit more flavor overall, but if you have boneless, that's okay too. Second one's done. We're just going to transfer that over into another pan and then fire up the smoker, get it going, and put these things to bed for the night. So a couple of things I wanted to mention about this cook is we're going to do an overnight cook. I'm going to put this in about 10:30 at night, and I'm going to probably get up early in the morning, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock to check on it. But I'm not going to leave it just up to going to bed, crossing my fingers to figure out what's going to happen. I'm going to use a remote thermometer, and this is a Wi-Fi based thermometer. This is an Inkbird. I picked this up about a year ago or so. It has 4 different ports to it, so I can have 4 different probes. I'm going to have one that's going to go onto the grill surface, kind of the grill rack, so I can monitor the temperature inside the grill. And then I'm going to probably just disperse them into 3 of these pork shoulders to be able to see where those are at. Because I want to get an idea of the temperature inside the meat, but I also want to make sure that we're maintaining the temperature in the grill at all times as well. This connects to Wi-Fi, and then I've got an app that runs on my phone, which is an Inkbird app, and I can set some minimums and some maximums on that. So I'm going to set my grill on 225, but I'd sure like to know if that thing goes below 200 degrees, or is that thing maybe going to go up about 275? I'd like to know that as well. I'm okay if it wakes me up to tell me that, because that means that I need to probably give some attention to what's going on in my grill. Now my grill isn't a Wi-Fi based grill, but this thermometer and the app are all Wi-Fi based. So that means as long as I have Wi-Fi, I can know what's going on. In this case, I'm going to be asleep, but maybe I'm doing a daytime cook and I need to run out to the hardware store, or the grocery store, or whatever the case is. As long as my phone has coverage, I can know exactly what's happening inside that grill at any time. Now, a Wi-Fi based grill would mean that I have an app that I can control the temperature of the grill. I can turn it up or turn the grill down remotely. I don't find the need for that. There's usually somebody around, either at home, or I could even get a hold of one of my neighbors if for some reason I needed to have them just pull the plug on the grill and open it up because maybe the thing is, gone crazy with high heat. Or maybe they need to throw some more pellets in because it's dropping low. That's something I can do just by being notified about what's happening. So being notified in my game, that works for me. So you can also set these for a certain temperature of the meat. So just like the temperature inside the grill, I can say, hey, let me know when this thing hits 175 degrees or 180 degrees or 200 degrees or whatever the case is. That might be a trigger point where I want to wrap it. I might want to put foil over top of these when I hit about 175 degrees. At that point, they've absorbed all the smoke that they're going to, and putting the foil over there just maintains a lot of the juices and a lot of the moisture inside of the grill for the balance of the cook, which is what I plan to do. So a couple of things before you're going to do that all night cook. Make sure that your thermometer is all the way charged up, because this is going to be running for many, many hours. Make sure that your hopper is completely filled with pellets. If you can get 3 more pellets in, that'd be a good idea. Just make sure that that thing's loaded up. So we're bringing that pellet grill up to temperature right now, and next thing is going to be to put these guys in and put them to bed, and put myself to bed also. All right, we got those pork shoulders on. You can see all 4 of them, the big ones here with the bone in. These 2 over here are the boneless. Got them in the trays, got all the liquid and everything in there. You can see that we've got probes put in there so we can monitor. So I've got that temperature on the display over here, plus I've got it on my phone. So nice thing there, I've got 4 probes. I can tell what the interior temperature is on each one, 81, 76. Inside we're showing 281 right now, which I think that's reading a little bit high. And then 77 for the last one. That 281 is the inside temperature. I've got a probe that just sits right in between here, in between those 2 pans. So that's kind of sensing what we've got for an overall temperature inside there. I'm gonna just double check that with another temperature probe that I know is right on. But I've got this set so that if it goes above 300 degrees or below 174, it's going to send me an alert via Wi-Fi to the phone, which is going to be right beside me in bed. So I think we're all set. We've got a full load of pellets in there. We've got these pork shoulders in here. They're ready to go. It's about 11 o'clock p.m. About 11:15 maybe. They've been on about an hour or so. Starting to get a little bit of color on there, which is good. But we're gonna let these guys go overnight. We're gonna check in again probably 6 in the morning, 6:30, kind of see where they're at, see what we might need to do to turn up the temperature, turn down the temperature, whatever the case is. But got some good smoke happening there. This is running on the Yoder 640, which is just a absolute tank. Just love this thing. So we'll see you in the morning. We are all finished with the pulled pork. Took the pulled pork out at about 200 degrees. We had the 2 that were on the left side, which is closer to the heat source on that Yoder 640, actually came out a little bit faster. They hit the temp, and then waited probably about another hour or so for the 2 on the right side to be able to hit temp and to probe tender. Then we pulled it, added a little bit of additional apple juice and a little bit more of our spice mixture that we used for the rub, And we're keeping it warm now until everybody shows up. We've got it in this roaster oven set at right about 225 degrees, and then we'll bring it out with all the other food. I would say from tasting it, it's a success. Can't wait to serve this up to all my neighborhood.
What happened, man? Did he piss somebody off or did he screw up? He pissed somebody off. Okay, that's easy enough to do.
For a long time.
Hey, it looks okay, huh?
That looked really good. Somebody's a good cook. I think his name's Jeff.
Now that is some awesome looking pulled pork. Everybody loved these sandwiches. They turned out absolutely fantastic. Wow, what a great time. And we fed probably about 100 people, had a little bit left over, but not very much. It was sure awesome. We had a great time. It's pretty easy to do pulled pork, and you can feed 80, 100 people with 4 pork shoulders. So if you like what we're doing here, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and share it with friends. In the meantime, you better figure out what you're going to cook in your backyard this weekend. Hey, thanks for watching.